Today we are making these adorable strawberry macarons. So we're going to start off by sifting our dry ingredients, which is our superfine almond meal and our powdered sugar. We're going to work that through a really fine sieve, and I like to get as much through as I can just by banging the sieve against my hand. Then I like to use the back of a rubber spatula to push through any stubborn bits of almond meal. Once you don't really have any ingredients left in your sieve, you're ready to set your dry ingredients inside and start working on your French meringue. I like to use aged egg whites, and I definitely let them come to room temperature. This is super important for them to whip up properly. I like to mix on a medium speed until some large bubbles form on the surface of the eggs. Then I add in just a dash, or about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and I mix on a medium speed again until the surface is opaque and covered with small bubbles. Then I'm adding in my granulated sugar and mixing on a medium-low speed for about 30 seconds to help that sugar get incorporated. Then it's time to increase the speed to level 6 on my KitchenAid or a medium-high speed and mix for about 4 to 6 minutes until we get stiff peaks. Now to test this, it's important that you kind of stir your whisk attachment around your bowl because sometimes the center can reach stiff peaks but the edges haven't yet. So you're looking for a peak like this where it comes to a nice crown and the tip of the meringue is not moving at all. Once you reach this stage, it's time to start folding in our dry ingredients, and I like to just add them in all at once. Since we're going to be making 2 different colors of batter, I want to fold the dry ingredients in gently by swooping around the edges of the bowl and pulling through the center, just until those dry ingredients seem like they're incorporated. At this stage, I'm going to take a spoonful of batter, I would say about 3/4 of a cup of the batter, and add it into a separate bowl and set it aside. To the remaining bowl, we're going to add a generous squirt of red gel food coloring, and we're going to fold that in as we continue to work our batter around the bowl and try to deflate it to just the perfect point where thick ribbons are falling off of our spatula when it's lifted. So you can see here it's still pretty thick and I still need to deflate it a little bit more. When I get to this point, sometimes I kind of spread the batter along the sides of the bowl, and then I like to test it several times throughout this process for the consistency so that I don't overmix it. So you can see at this point when I lift up my spatula, the batter is running off really nice and smoothly, so I know that it's ready to go. You can also do the figure 8 test where you should be able to draw a couple figure 8s in your batter as it runs off of your spatula, and once you can do that, you know that your batter is ready to go. So I poured my red batter into a piping bag and set it aside, and then I worked on coloring my remaining batter green. Then it was time to actually pipe these macarons. So I made a fun little template to make sure that all my macaron shells turned out the same size and shape. And I'm using a small round piping tip here. It's a Wilton 10, just to give me a little bit more control as I'm piping these shapes. Once I had added all the red batter into place, I banged my pan on the counter a few times to release any air bubbles, and then I topped them with some yellow nonpareil sprinkles to look just like strawberry seeds. I let these rest for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I used my green batter to pipe on the strawberry stems. I banged my pan a couple more times and then let my shells rest for about 30 minutes until they formed a skin before baking them. They baked up really nicely and had beautiful little feet. And once they had cooled, it was time to fill them. So I decided to fill them just with my favorite buttercream because it's my favorite thing to eat, which is American buttercream. So I piped a nice little ring around the perimeter of each strawberry and filled it with my favorite homemade strawberry jam. If you prefer a less sweet filling, you can totally use a different buttercream like Swiss or Italian meringue, and you also could use a strawberry flavored buttercream by adding in some strawberry powder and a little bit of extra heavy cream. These were seriously so fun to make, and if you guys want to make a batch at home, the recipe is up on Chelsweets.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy baking!